Never start your life thinking it's over, because sometimes, the person who saves you has nothing at all. Larry Kingston thought the worst was behind him after surviving the accident. He was wrong. Losing the use of his legs was painful, but losing his dignity inside his own home hurt even more. Every day felt like a reminder that he was no longer the man he used to be. And now, after what just happened in the bedroom, his body shook, not from fear, but from deep exhaustion. Precious stood beside him, breathing hard, her chest rising and falling fast. Her hands still trembled, not because she was weak, but because she cared. She had never planned to fight anyone that day. All she wanted was to survive one more night. Yet here she was, standing between a broken man and the woman slowly destroying him. Larry wiped his tears with shaky fingers. "You shouldn't have done that," he said softly. Precious shook her head. "Someone had to." The house fell silent again. That kind of silence that feels loud. The kind that presses on your chest. Rosa didn't come back that day. Hours passed. Evening arrived. The food Precious had been cooking earlier sat untouched on the stove. Larry finally spoke again. "You're not safe here anymore," he said. "Rosa won't let this go." Precious nodded. She already knew. Life had taught her how anger works. That night, Larry made a decision. Not a weak one. Not a desperate one. A clear one. The next morning, Larry called his lawyer. For years, Larry had built companies, signed contracts, employed hundreds of people. Even from a wheelchair, his mind still worked sharp. And for the first time since the accident, he used it, not for business, but for himself. Rosa returned 2 days later, loud and confident, with her cousin beside her. She expected fear. She expected weakness. What she didn't expect was a lawyer, a police officer, and a restraining order waiting in the living room. Larry didn't raise his voice. He didn't shout. He didn't beg. He simply said, "You don't live here anymore." Rosa laughed at first. Then she read the papers. The laughter died fast. That mansion? It was Larry's before the marriage. The companies? His. The accounts? Locked. The evidence of abuse? Documented. For the first time, Rosa had nothing to throw. She left screaming, threatening, cursing. But she left. When the door closed, Larry sat there quietly. Precious stood behind him, unsure what to say. "It's over," Larry whispered. Not with joy. With relief. That night, something changed between them. Not romance. Not fantasy. Something deeper. Trust. Days turned into weeks. Precious stayed. Not as a guest. Not as a servant. As family. Larry hired a nurse for himself, but Precious refused to just sit around. She cleaned. She cooked. She learned. Larry noticed she was smart. Very smart. One afternoon, he asked her, "Why didn't you go to school?" She shrugged. Life happened. So Larry changed that too. He enrolled her. At first, Precious didn't believe it. She thought it was a joke. A dream. Something rich people say but don't mean. But Larry meant it. She went back to school at 19. Nervous. Scared. Determined. Every evening, she came back excited, telling Larry stories. About classes. About teachers. About how she answered a question correctly and everyone looked at her like she mattered. Larry listened like a proud father. Slowly, the mansion changed. It wasn't quiet anymore. It wasn't cold. Laughter returned. Music played sometimes. Bad music. Loud music. The kind Rosa hated. Larry started therapy. Physical therapy. Mental therapy. Life therapy. He still couldn't walk, but he stopped wishing he wasn't alive. 1 year later, Precious graduated top of her class. She ran into the living room holding her results, screaming. Larry cried openly. Not weak tears. Strong ones. "You did this," she told him. Larry shook his head. No. You did. Years passed. Precious became a lawyer. Not the kind who chases money. The kind who protects people who can't protect themselves. Her first case? A woman in a wheelchair, abused by her husband. Larry sat in the courtroom that day, watching Precious speak with fire in her eyes. And in that moment, he understood something simple and powerful. Sometimes, life doesn't save you by giving you what you lost. Sometimes, it saves you by giving you someone to protect. Larry never walked again. But he stood taller than most people ever will. And Precious? She never forgot the night she grabbed a wheelchair on a dark road and stopped 2 lives from ending. Some stories don't start with hope, but they end with purpose. This is Epic Stories, where broken moments turn into unforgettable lessons. Subscribe for more stories that change the way you see life.